all set and good to go. Hello everybody and welcome to BRL's ACC Xbox Division. We're here for round 7 out of 10. 11, maybe. Whatever. Wait for round number 7 in other way. We're at the lovely Suzuka circuit in Japan, and at the moment we have 23 minutes left of our qualifying session before we start up an hours-long race. You can see our top time in qualifying at the moment is set by yours truly, by Juggernog, with a 2:02.258. John a little far off of him, but even further back is Skeppy, Slowski, Calzoner, Stylo Deer, and then GameStopper as well. We've got quite a lot of cars for tonight, and we are looking good for a solid race tonight. Currently with Calzoner as he heads into the middle sector of the lap. The hairpin coming up here. Make sure you get the car rotated. Use the camber. He's done so nicely. Nice exit down the back straight. Alright, we're all good on the stream. Looks like it's all working correctly and we are good to go. So just watch Calzoner's lap out here. He's heading through the yard to the final chicane of the lap now. Really gotta hop these curbs. But they can unsettle the car if you take it a little bit wrong. Calzoner coming up to the line now. It's a little further back than what you'd be used to on F1, but makes no difference. Calzoner did not improve on his time. The yellow flag off. Might be third. Can't really tell who that is, fortunately, but oh, Taylor getting really wayward in the Audi, and that is backwards. He'll collect the car, get it back on track, and John comes out a little in front of him. Skeppy is on a lap about 2/10 up now through the S's. From what I can gather, he's not exactly too happy with his car tonight, and does not think this Mercedes has the pace to match Jug and others tonight. Jug in the Lexus, obviously. John is in the Mercedes as well. Not exactly sure the big difference in their setups, but obviously something is hounding Skeppy in his machinery. See what you go in front of him in the Audi as well on a lap. Gucci behind. Now into Spoon Curve. The inside all the way back out and cut back in. That's a bit loose, and that's invalid as well, to put more shame on that mistake. Skep will have to go again. John is quite close to Jug still. Neither of them have really improved. It's a difficult lap to hook up around here because it is a 2-minute lap around here. It becomes very, very tough to perfect run in. So Let's see. Stolowski on and out lap. Is anybody else on a lap? Calzoner, invalid, not on a lap. Neymar through Spoon, invalid, also not on a lap. So looks like we're in a bit of a transitive phase for a lot of these guys to get out there, put on a new set of tires maybe. But Jug looks to be improving through turns 1 and 2. Early in the lap, make sure you sacrifice these S's to get the run out. You cannot give up all the time on the exit because, well, it's not maximizing your lap time then, is it? But Jug looks like he's done very nicely, and he's going to carry his speed out. It's going to be about a 10th improvement through the first sector. Degner 1. Really aggressive. Skeppy's around there, and Jug, a little too aggressive through Degner 2, is going to invalidate that lap time. How about John? Is John about to start a lap? Not really, he's just in front of Jug, so those two close to each other on the racetrack. Stolowski just starting his lap so we can hop on board him. Not as fast as the Formula 1 cars through this exit section, but it's still mesmerizing to watch these huge pieces of machinery just fight their way through those complex set of lefts and rights. Stolowski looks pretty good through there, just barely keeping a tire on that red and white curb, which is your invalidation line for a lot of the corners. You have to make sure you keep at least a tire on the red and white. Stolowski with the drive off nicely through the hairpin. He's about a half a tenth down, but that's definitely improvable. Through the final section of this lap into Spoon Curve now. Maybe a little bit deep, but if you can get the run out, it looks good for a 2.5 improvement through Spoon Curve. So must have made some kind of mistake through the first time, or maybe not pushing the car hard enough the first time around. But down the back straight now into 130R. See how much he has to lift. Lift in a downshift to 5th. Get back on the power as early as you can. It looks like he's not gotten that exactly right, as he lost about a 10th through there. Now clatter the curbs. Make sure you keep it foot to the floor on the exit, and it'll be a 2/10 improvement for Stolowski. Will be enough to dethrone Skep from P3. Doesn't look like it. He'll stay 4th, but a 2:01.8 gets him a little bit closer. Nobody at the top still improving is John on a lap. He's about a 10.5 down through Spoon. Does he have time on the exit here? It looks like he does. He's about half a tenth down now. Oh, actually lost a little bit on that exit, so maybe he didn't pick up the throttle the best he could. So back up to a 10.5 down. It's good through 130R, and that gap is minimizing between him and his fastest lap. Clatter the first curb. A little bit on the second. He's gonna improve if he gets the... No, he's not gonna improve, actually. Couldn't get the car through there fast enough to find a marginal improvement, but we'll stay now. Second. He's got 7/10 on his teammate, though, but Skep looks good through Sector 1. It's about 4/10 up as he hits the hairpin. We'll have to get the car stable and straight for the braking. Down to first gear, pick up the throttle. This looks really, really good for Skeppy. Halfway through the quali session, so not too much time for these drivers to get it all together now. But man, Skeppy's on an absolute flyer if you could just hook it up through these final few corners. 7/10 up down the back straight. hop on board for 130R. You can see how much the car does not want to go through this corner. Screaming for help as he hits the exit curb. Now hard on the brakes. Get the chicane right. First curb, second curb, exit curb, power down. 1.1, almost 1.2 second improvement for Skeppy. Where will this put him on the board? 2-minute .195, and he's found himself in provisional pole position. So, not exactly sure what he's found in the setup, but he was complaining about that Mercedes not being up to par. I don't know what he's talking about. It's pretty good to me. There's Jug now through sector 1, and again, invalid on the exit of Degna 2. Was down on the time anyway, wasn't really going to be improvement. How about John up about 5.5 tenths as he hits the line? This is going to be pole position, 2-minute .144, and we'll find about half a tenth over Skeppy's lap. So the Mercedes look quite good, 1 and 2 at the moment. Jug a tenth down, but then after that, it's a huge drop off to the guys of Stolowski, Ichigo, and Calzone are behind. They're in their little group of 4, 5, 6, and then another gap to Neymar and Stylo, both in the Lexus machinery, 114 and 115. And another gap to the rest of the field. So it's very interesting to see the gaps and the skill gaps here around this circuit, because it is so long of a lap time. It's so difficult for the lower tier drivers to hook up a full lap. Maybe in the races they'll be alright, because it's not all about the maximum lap time every single lap. It's about managing the lap times every single lap, managing your gaps, managing the pit stop, and everything else that comes with driving a full 1 hour race in these things. So Neymar's up about 4 tenths into the hairpin. We'll see if he can carry it through. Doesn't look great through the hairpin though. Looks like he didn't hook up the inside nicely. Just a bit of time through there. Now keep the car as tight to the right as possible. It's very difficult to do so in these cars compared to the F1 cars, but Neymar now into Spoon. Oh, gets caught up on the curb. A little slide through there, but still going to pick up the throttle all right. He's improving very, very marginally now, though. Just got caught on the curb while braking and turning at the same time. Just did not want to cooperate through there. Now, dead even on the time. Does he have anything through the final chicane? Picked up the inside curb very nicely, but fortunately, that means not a great exit, and it won't be a lap time improvement for Neymar this time by. Skeppy through the hairpin. He's about 4 tenths down. Jug in the pits, so not going out just yet. Should be out relatively soon to get his final run in. Stolowski through the S's. We'll keep an eye on him as we go to our points standings. Can't bring him up on the stream, unfortunately, like Mitchie for tier 1. It's always nice to see what he can do with his PC. I do see, though, we have a bit of a raid. Good guy. I appreciate it very much with the party of 4. Thank you very much. Welcome to the stream. We are about 2/3 of the way through qualifying. Oh, that's a spin-off for Stolowski there through Degna 1. 2/3 of the way through qualifying, as I was saying. And then we've got an hour-long race to come. You guys stick around and enjoy the show. Should be a good one. And I'll make it a little bit better as we will pull up our point standings coming into this round. By Juggernog holds a 9-point gap over second place VRA John. John John's currently on pole. By Juggernog is in 3rd. Now, Stolowski is third in the point standings with 118 points. He is 42 points off of Jug's 160. And then it's Skeppy with 105, Calzoner 91, Neymar 87, Carnival 85, GameStopper 73, Butch Giblet 68, Stylo 63, Gucci Lucci 57, Hulk Smash has 53. That rounds out your top 12 in the point standings. So it's really a two-horse race out front at the moment for these guys, John and Jug. But if they collide too much, if we get a little bit of championship implications, let's see, Stolowski and Skep jump back into it. They're about 40 to 50 points off, but it is 28 for a win. So it is quite an unforgiving system if you do not stay consistent throughout the entire season. We'll see. We'll see what happens as we enter the back half of the season. Tensions do elevate as we get here. And right now, we are on board by Juggernog, who is up about half a tenth through Sector 1 here. Actually, didn't get the greatest of exits compared to his previous lap, so now into Degna 1. Oh, that's a big slide, and that cannot be good. It's an invalidation for Jug. Pushing it so hard through those two corners all evening long, and it's just not been working out for him. Cannot get that extra tenth to match John. Skeppy is not on a lap. Is John just barely down? 130R here. Oh, picks up the throttle too early and invalidates the time. And look at that, he found a bit of time under braking there. He would have improved by a little under a tenth of a second too on that lap time. That's just barely off the track. That's all you need to get an invalidation around here. We got a train of 3 cars here. Is Ichigo improving? Invalid, about to start a lap. About Skeppy coming through the final corner, also starting a lap. So everybody seems to be starting up laps. Skeppy needs half a tenth to grab pole away from his teammate John. He's got that half a tenth right now. It's just whether or not he can hook up the rest of the lap to keep it in touching distance as he heads into the final chicane. He's got Jug right behind him as well, so we'll keep an eye on him. We'll get a little bit of an onboard for you folks at home for BRL Skeppy in his Mercedes, even with his time through Sector 1. Looking to improve on his 2-minute 1:9.5. A little wide through Degna 1. Picks up it nicely on the exit. He's going to stay dead even on his time as we hit the hairpin. A little lift. Car slowed, rotated. That's a car off there on the exit of the hairpin. Doesn't seem to bother Skeppy too much. He's found a little bit of time through there now into Spoon Curve. Just listen to the car as it does not want to turn for the second apex. Using the throttle to get the rotation through there, and he's about almost a tenth up here. 130R in the final chicane to go. Will he be able to steal the pole position away from John here? Lift, downshift, keep it on the road. No, he can't. Invalidated through 130R. Such a difficult corner in these race cars. behind him. It's Jug. Is he on a lap? I don't think he is. No, also invalid. It's so difficult to hook up a lap in these cars. John's fourth, and he's not even finished Sector 1, so I don't think this one will be an improvement. Is Stolowski on a good one? No, he is not. Nobody finding time. Stylo has moved up into 5th, so pretty good from him as well. Ichigo starting a lap. Is anybody else on a lap? Jug is into the lane. He'll get one more shot at it if he gets out in time. Skeppy getting a bit of dirty air. Line game stopper. And this lap won't be an improvement. Jug back out onto the racetrack. John in Spoon Curve. Skeppy at the end of Sector 1. They'll all get one more shot at a lap time in here. As, Skeppy into the lane. Will he be able to get back out on time? If he leaves about now, he can. He's gonna get out there. He's gonna have clean air as well if he gets out in front of this. That would be Neymar here. Yeah, he'll get out in front. He should be able to get one more shot at it, but it's going to be close. He cannot make a mistake on his outlap, which usually give time to wander around the circuit, make sure your tire temps are in check, make sure everything's good to go. But Skeppy's going to have to go flying out the gate. And how about this gap between the top 3 and all the way back to Stolowski? But Stolowski is about 3/10 up, almost now 5/10 up through Spoon. Gonna try and carry the speed on the exit. Yeah, he's gonna find a bit of time on this particular lap. 1 minute and 30 seconds to go in this session. The final moments now. Stolowski losing a bit of time. Now 5th gear. Rotate the car. Stays valid. He'll have a shot at it through the final chicane. Oh, didn't pick up the first apex as nicely as some others have tonight, and it's going to cost him about a 10th or 2 through there. It'll still be a 4/10 improvement. It should solidify him in P4. John, Skeppy, Jug just starting his lap, his final flying lap. John, invalid. He'll have one more shot at it. Skeppy is now coming through 130R as well, getting ready to start his final flyer. So we'll hop on with Jug. 30 seconds to go. Jug trying to find just 1/10. Separates your top 3 in qualifying at the moment. Jug goes first. John and Skeppy will follow. Really fighting the car through Degna 1. Stolowski off the track at Degna 2. That's his qualifying over. Should stay in P4 unless a magical lap comes from someone behind. Looking at Ichigo for that. But that's qualifying over now. Jug, he's just barely up. Not really going to be up as the speed these cars carry really matters a lot on the exits. Slow and fast out in these machines means so much more. It's incredible. Jug through Spoon 2. Oh, a little bit deep through there, and that might be the run over. That should surely be lap over for Jug. John's done as well. He's gonna have to hope his 2:01 stands. Jug through 130R, and it looked valid from what I could see, but I don't know if it's going to be an improvement. Ichigo doesn't improve. He stays P6. Gerbil in 9th. Taylor in 8th. Does Jug have anything special in the final chicane? No, he does not. He'll stay 3rd. How about Skeppy? We can't see the delta as the session is ended. It doesn't let me hop back on board. But we can watch it out. Stylo in 5th, coming to the line. Oh, that might have been invalid. Cold Carnival got out of the way as well on the left-hand side, and that's it. That's it for qualifying. John's 2-minute .144 will just stand. Skeppy will take P2. It'll be a Mercedes front row lockout, and they'll attempt to hold Jug off from behind. Solowski will start on the second row as well. Stylo will take P5 with Ichigo alongside him. Calzoner and Neymar once again find themselves together somehow, some way. They always do. And they're separated by 2100ths of a second. Botch Gerbil 9th. Taylor Clan, who's normally our safety car, he is racing today. He is going to start in P10 with Deer Hunter, Gucci Lucci, Cold Carnival, Alpha Nesis, Redeemer, and Game Stopper rounding out your field. So we've got an interesting lineup at the top and throughout the field as well. We're in store for a solid race tonight. And if you're just tuning in now, welcome. This is round number 7. We're at Suzuka, Japan. And we're mainly looking at our championship fight here, as currently at the top is Jug, leading by 9 points over John. Stolowski and Skeppy a little far out of it. But hey, anything can happen in these next few rounds of this championship here. Get back in and ready to go here. 16 cars. We do not have a safety car for tonight. So if you're wrecking, it's almost game over tonight if you have too many repairs to do. We await 1 minute or so to get these cars rolling, and then we'll get underway. You can see next to their driver numbers on the left-hand side in orange box with the 1 inside of it. That means they have 1 pit stop left remaining. The box will turn green. You won't see a number in there anymore once they make their mandatory pit stop. There's no pit window they have to abide to. Whenever they make their stop, doesn't matter. They could take it the first lap around. They could take it just before the final minute arrives. They just have to make 1 mandatory stop tonight. And usually we'll see it around halfway, but you never know. We could see some undercuts and overcuts with it. Always interesting to watch and see what works best.
Seconds.
Well, Stig, I can kind of like say we're trying to start up a like second tier for ACC. If you guys aren't if you're interested in ACC, that is, we're trying to get a GT4 series going, as these are the GT3 cars, and obviously we have 4 F1 tiers as well. So we got from the best of the ones trying to learn to be the best in BRL, and we're all here for it, making sure that everybody has something to do if they so choose. So if you're interested, make sure you reach out to Skep. He's the one that runs all the Xbox ACC stuff for us. But we'll focus up on the race as these guys get rolling through the final chicane. They'll get themselves sorted 2 by 2 as we'll hit. John will lead us to green. Making sure everybody gets lined up here 2 by 2. You see a lot of the Lexus cars in the top 6. We got 2 Mercedes out front. Alphanesis in the pit lane, so the pit lane start for him. Green is go, and John and Skep look to have pretty good starts. Same for Stolowski and Jug behind. Jug will edge him out for P3, and will look to try and steal something away from Skeppy, but looks pretty clean up front, looks pretty clean towards the back as well. I don't see anything happening behind them. Relatively single file as you have to, because we've got the S section coming up straight away, sector 1. So these guys making sure they got everything in line. Again, no safety car, so they all know they have to keep the car in one piece to even have a shot at a top 5 tonight. John will take us through Degna 1. Now through Degna 2, that's a bit of a spin for Skeppy, and he collides with Jug. Jug might have a little bit of front end damage. He's going to lose more positions out of that than anything. He's going to drop all the way down to about P10 or so. Skeppy even worse. He'll be relegated to 15th. And that's what I was saying. Big championship implications possible. And now John alone at the front, doesn't have any pressure from behind. Closest car to him is Stolowski in that Lamborghini. Not sure if Skeppy got a shunt from behind, or it was just the car did not want to cooperate under braking on the heavier fuel load and just went around on him. And unfortunately, Jug is there to pick up the pieces of his car. That Jug down to 9th at the moment. Skeppy into 15th. You can see the timing screens updating as Jug with a huge dive bomb into the chicane on Taylor lets him go. And Jug will put himself up into 8th in a fight to climb back as many positions as possible. We saw him do it 2 weeks ago in Donington. Can he do it again? Coincidentally, John won that race that Jug had to find his way through the field again. So a little bit of deja vu from 2 weeks ago. Those two being similar positions. So out front, John looks quite comfortable with his gap. Stylo in a P3 at the moment, quietly got himself into that position. Ichigo in 4th in the Audi, looking quite nice with that nice blue chrome with Calzoner and Neymar once again figuring out how to race each other every single weekend on the track. Jug has passed Botch Gerbil for P7. We'll now track down his Lexus teammate of BRL Neymar to grab P6, but gotta cut out those mistakes. And honestly, that's why Skeppy's been season, to be honest with you. After the championship last season in his Audi, he's felt as comfortable in this Mercedes as he's looked in some of the sessions, but just not been amazing. It's what it's been. It's been okay, but it hasn't been great this season so far. As you can see, Jug already all over the back of Calzoner. Neymar kind of let him through. Now looking to get by Calzoner here down the main straight. Picking up the slipstream. Calzoner defending, chooses to defend the left-hand side. A little bit of a weave there, making sure he stays ahead in Neymar cannot get through. Jug looking to get through on them there. Neymar will pull off, let him by. So now Jug will have to get on Calzoner. Signing up for ACC, you can just DM BRL ACC, who's one of the owners. He's currently in the race right now, so he wouldn't exactly respond, but he's the one who does all the stuff for Xbox ACC if you're on that. If you're on PC, go ask Exia. He's one of the head admins with the yellow colored role, so depending on what platform you're on there, you can get involved. Look at this between Jug and Calzoner. Calzoner defending all the way to the inside. And Jug's going to look for a late move up the inside of Calzoner. A bit of contact, maybe a bit too late for Jug. Getting a little too eager, too early to get out. And again, more mistakes coming. Might be a little bit more damage. The car just won't handle the same. Again, all over the back of Calzoner. You cannot make a move in a 130R unless you're already alongside. But how about into the chicane? No, Jug doesn't have the braking prowess to get that one done, but he will have a bit more straight line speed than that Mercedes. And it looks like he's gotten a great exit onto the straight here. Does he look for the move into turn one? Yeah, he does. He does look for it. Calzoner left a little bit of space, and he's left a lot of space through turn two. He gets the run as now. Oh, that's tight, but Jug will get the position eventually and crack back into the top five. He's got a little bit of work to do to go catch Ichigo, who's all over the back of Stylo as well. And that is for P3. John's currently running away with this race. About 4 seconds out in front. Looking very comfortable. Too many battles across the field. Got a little bit tight in this train here. Kind of from Botch Gerbil back, even Neymar, Calzoner, and even Jug are all kind of in this train. Not too close between these guys. A little bit closer up front, though, for P3. How about Ichigo trying to overtake Stylo through the S's? A little bit of dirty air, you can see, not picking up the apex just as much as he would have liked. Yeah, John's absolutely flying right now, and he's looking quite comfortable out front. Look at that gap. And that is BRL ACC just ahead of him, so Skeppy close to being lapped almost by his teammate, but you see by Skeppy's name, that green box, he's got his mandatory pit stop completed, and he's looking to do a mega undercut on the field here and pick up positions that way without having to overtake as many cars on the racetrack. Back over to your battle for third. You see Jugs creeping into the picture as well in the background. These guys aren't far off Stolowski as well for P2, so you could see a good old scrap between 4 cars for just 2 podium places. Nice to see you guys getting in. Oh, I was looking down at my laptop screen and Ichigo spun out. Oh no. Well, Ichigo's going to be dropping all the way back to about 11th place, I believe, and we'll have some work to do. That gives a free position by Juggernog, who is now going to be working on his teammate Stylo. Not sure exactly how much these guys will be working together, because I know Stylo really only speaks Spanish, so not exactly the most communication between them, as you'd expect from Jug and Neymar, but we'll see what Stylo decides to do. He can defend the position as much as he wants. It's up to him. But Jug looks very pacey, and he's looking very close. Oh, looked up the inside, but covered off by Stylo through into the hairpin. Jug's got the better exit of the two, all over the back bumper. Looking to the left-hand side of the racetrack, trying to pull out, and he's going to have the move done. Stylo cannot hold that one. So Jug up into third now. And we'll look at Stolowski next, victim up the road. Saw it was close between Cold Carnival and Neymar. Carnival very wide through Spoon. Not sure if he's got any issues with that car. Neymar has pulled ahead for 6th, and here comes Taylor as well in the Audi directly behind. Looks to the left-hand side, decides against it. A little too far back, as that's a big spin for Cold Carnival, and he's going to go into the outside barrier. Bit of an auto spin curb pick up through there. He's going to climb back onto the racetrack side by side with GameStopper into the final chicane. He'll get through in that huge Bentley. Not exactly enjoying the Suzuka experience is GameStopper in the Bentley. Not a great car for this track in particular, so he's just going to be looking to pick up points wherever he can. See, the Lexus really struggling through Degna 1 and 2. We saw it in the qualifying as well. Yeah, have to lift at 130R. It's an actual corner in these race cars. And it's proven to be a killer so far. Deer Hunter and Ichigo a little bit close. We're going to have to keep an eye on Ichigo here, as he's going to have to climb back through the field after his spin. Just need to get that blinking off my screen. It's kind of annoying a little bit. Go a bit wide through Spoon, but he'll pick up a decent exit there behind Deer. Ichigo looks for a bit of a move, bit of a half send. Would not work. Slipstream for Ichigo on Deer, still looking for the move. We'll hop back up to P2 for the time being. Battle for P2, that is, between Stolowski and Jug, trying to get through. And he's going to have the tall order of trying to track down John. At the moment, I believe Jug will hold on to his championship lead, as that's close between the pair of Stolowski and Jug. Lexus has some incredible straight line speed, and he's trying to use it to full effect in the slipstream of Stolowski in the Lamborghini. Looking up the inside of the second apex of Spoon, and he's gonna get there. He's gonna get the move side by side. This might not work in a 130R, but it will, because Jug will be able to clear Stolowski and pull back on to the racing line just before. So Jug now into P2. As that's just aggressive from Stolowski, looking up the inside head. Jug had to leave a little bit of space on the apex and maybe didn't get the greatest of runs out of the corner. Will Stolowski have another look into turn one? It doesn't look like he's going to be close enough to be able to do so. So I think Jug will get away with that one and will be able to march on. 11.8 seconds is the gap between first and second, who are also first and second in your championship standings. 9 points separated them heading into today, and if it stays like this, Jug will maintain his championship lead. But it will definitely close by quite a margin compared to what it was entering today. So John's gonna have to do his best to try and stay consistent and make sure he gets this thing home in one piece in P1. Drop back to Ichigo in P9. Currently still behind Deer Hunter, has not found a way through just yet. Deer went a little bit defensive into there. Maybe Ichigo can try and get the run out. It doesn't look like he's gonna be a little too far back once again. He needs Deer to make a mistake, because we know Ichigo's got a little bit more pace than Deer Hunter, but he hasn't been able to really use it after his spin. These guys have caught up to Taylor in front of them as well, who's running P7 in his, I believe it's the first race of the season for him, as just commentators cursed him into turn number 1. And he will lose 2 positions out of that one, drops to P9 now. So Deer up to 7th, Ichigo back into 8th. stay on board this battle because they still are very close together. Closest in the entire field. 12.1 seconds. The gap has opened up a little bit between John and Jug, but not enough to let John slack off and just try and bring it home, because still 39 minutes and 48 seconds remaining. Alphanesis is in the pit lane for his mandatory pit stop. I believe Skeppy is still ahead. Yeah, he is still ahead of John, and actually very close between the two. Skeppy doesn't want to go the lap down. He's running at R8 pace then, because he has been in front of John for most of his stint here after his pit stop. So he's running at an okay pace. We'll see once other people start to cycle out of the pit lane after they make their mandatory stops, which we should see coming up very soon. Should start to see some peeling off around 35 minutes to go. And I'd say the latest we're going to see people is probably with 15 minutes to go, because they'll try and do some overcuts to get some clean air. It's all about clean air and consistency once you come out of the pit lane. Do you have the track ahead of you to push? Do you have the tire grip and the temperature in them to push straight away? It's all questions that can be answered with a little bit of practice beforehand, and well, depending on what car you have, it'll be a different answer between every single driver. So Taylor, a bit of a snap there, is a little bit under pressure from Botch Gerbil behind, both in the Audi. Triple Audi 8, 9, 10 at the moment. Ichigo's still behind Deere, and Deere's losing a bit of time to Neymar, who's sitting a comfortable P6. He's got a big gap in front of him and a big gap behind. We've got a little bit of a gap, or a little bit of a battle forming between these guys in 3rd, 4th, and 5th at the moment. Stylo about a second back off of Stolowski. Calzoner 1.5 seconds off of Stylo. So these guys all kind of running at similar pace. Now 1.2 seconds separates each of these drivers. Botch Gerbil is looking to get by his Audi teammate of Taylor. Close enough at the moment. Everything's starting to spread out a little bit here as we await your pit stop sequence, which might shuffle up things. Jug is pulled away from these guys a little bit. He is maintaining about a 12-second gap to John in front, so it's honestly what could have been if he did not get involved in that lap 1 skirmish with Skeppy. That caused both of them to lose multiple positions. And, well, Jug's driven back up into P2. Skeppy is currently 15th as Gucci is making his mandatory pit stop. Dropping all the way back down the order. Skeppy did get passed by John. Must have been some kind of mistake in there as well, because he's dropped way off, very swirly on the exit, and that is way too deep into the chicane. He's cut the whole entire thing, and will jump into the pit lane. So something awry in that Mercedes for a second pit stop of the race. And I would not be surprised if we get a bit of a leave session from Skeppy. He might be done for the night. Calzone on the back of Stylo. The Mercedes looks to have some decent pace. Decent pace. That's what I was looking for. Decent pace in this latter half of his stint. Two cars into the pit lane. That's Neymar and Deer Hunter. So pulling in from P6 and 7. What happened, Skep? Did you catch a curb the wrong way? Because that didn't look fun in the chicane. Skeppy is driven back out onto the racetrack now, so he is going to be continuing, but it's currently dead last at the moment for BRL Skeppy, and not a good points day whatsoever. But he's just going to stay in. Oh, that's a stop go for Neymar. Must have released his pit limiter button too early. Coming out of the pit lane. Neymar will have to serve a quite sizable penalty. Will drop all the way back. So, not great for Neymar. Deer Hunters come out ahead of Alpha Nesis. Guys spreading out just a little bit. About 1.5 seconds between these three. Jug has lost a little bit of time to John. And I'm very surprised because we still have not seen that many pit stops overall. We've seen 6 at the moment. 5 drivers have made stops. Skeppy's done it twice, so we've had 6 stops so far in this one. And as I say that, 2 more hopping into the lane. That's Bots Gerbil and Taylor Clan, the 2 Audi boys on the same strategy. Neymar back into the lane to serve his drive-through. Stylo is quite close to Stolowski on this lap compared to previous, so maybe mounting up a push lap here. Could see a stop in his... see it very soon. Any of these 3 diving it in. Stolowski will. So Stolowski into the pit lane. Does Calzone follow? Yes, he does. So those 2 into the lane. Stylo will stay out at least 1 extra lap. And this is a opportunity for him to try and jump Stolowski for that final place on the podium. So he's got to push hard now on the aging tires as we approach the halfway stage of this race. more cars into the pit lane behind them as well. Calzoner and Stolowski were the first two, and then it's Ichigo, Carnival, GameStopper, a busy pit lane here as we just hit E.
We are halfway through, not over yet.
Halfway point of the race, I was waiting for it. Ichigo says screw this track for the second time tonight, so I can tell he's just not happy. But we'll see how far. Stolowski does stay ahead of Calzoner after stops, and he's actually pulled out quite a gap. So, interesting. GameStopper and Deemer both pit, and now it's just a waiting game between these top three. John stayed out another lap as he's got heavy traffic behind him, but he's got clean track ahead, so as long as he's got the pace, he can stay ahead and making sure he's got the clean track. But look at this train of cars right behind him. It starts with Botched Gerbil, it contains Deer Hunter Taylor, and I believe it's Ichigo as well. Yes, it is. Ichigo has jumped Deer Hunter in the pit lane process. So up into should be about P7 after we get the sectors all sorted out. Yes, it is P7. And it's Jug and Stylo into the pit lane now. So those two pit, and now we have one to go. It is John out front. And I assume he's going to go as long as he possibly can, as long as he stays ahead of Botched Gerbil, Ichigo, and the likes of them behind him. So as long as he's got the pace to stay in front, I don't see why he would pit unless he needs some fuel in the car. So we wait to see, does John come into the lane this time by? Car off at the back. Is it who I think it is? No, it is not. It's not Skeppy, thank goodness. Alpha Nesis, yeah, okay. The 59 car in the Aston Martin around at the back, but not too worrying for him. He should be okay. John is going to come in and make his pit stop, so he'll let that train go and fight it out together. Have a great time. And he's gonna come in, and that will do it for mandatory pit stops. So now just 27 minutes remain. Taylor Clay looking all over the back of Deer Hunter. I believe he is slightly faster than Deer, at least at this moment. A little bit sketchy through Degna 1, now through Degna 2. Looks like Deer's kept the gap large enough to keep that position. Taylor's still all over the back of Deer at the moment. He's swerving a little bit, looking to see if he can put Deer off balance. Off guarded, he's put himself off balance into 130R. Keeps out of the wall though, and he'll be able to continue on, but a mistake. So Taylor P9, and he's gonna have a lot of work to do to try and improve that position. Deemer getting out of the way of Stylo and Calzone here. Happening, unfortunately. Can't really see anything. Jug is closing a little bit on John, but he's gonna need a little more than that to give us a race at the finish. He's extended the gap to Stolowski behind, who has undercut Stylo and Calzone a lot, so you wonder if he had heavier fuel to start the race off with, or something in his pit strategy that made it to where he can keep it shorter pit stop times. So, looking quite good for P3 at the moment, and hopefully we get to talk to him if he stays there. Reminder, after this race, in 23.5 minutes time, we will get some post-race interviews for your top 3. And at the moment, it's looking like we're going to get to talk to our 2 championship rivals. So, 11 seconds apart. Jug is still closing in, 11.0. It was 12 seconds a few minutes ago, but again, keep an eye on it just in case Jug does get to him. He's gonna need to find about half a second a lap though to get to him, so that's gonna be difficult in itself to find half a second on John, who qualified better than Jug to start with. And again, consistency, he's gonna need to find half a second every single lap. No mistake from him, so it becomes difficult in 2 different aspects. So, at the moment, as it stands, if our race results finish this way, 1 John, 2 Juggernog, the gap would be reduced to 5 points between the 2. And by the way, I had not mentioned this earlier, but they are looking at maybe a double points finale at Bathurst. Alright, are we back? Yes, I think we're back. I think we're back. We're back. Okay. Apologies, guys. My Wi-Fi just shot itself in the foot for about 10 seconds.
Green light, go, go, go.
Alright, I think we're back. I think we're good. So I really do apologize for that. It just went out for about half a minute and couldn't really do anything. Seems to be okay now. Everything seems to be up and running and working okay. So we're back in the race. Everything seems to be the same as how we had left off. Bathurst does usually produce good races, and well, if it's a double points finale, as I was saying, I don't know how much you guys caught of that. Probably most of it. But we were looking at it because of what happened in Spain last weekend. We had a server disconnect, and it was just unplayable after about 15 minutes into the race. So we awarded kind of like half points for qualifying and whatever their positions were in the race at the time. So we did what we could, but that means that a lot of people didn't get full points awarded. So we're looking at maybe doing that. We'll keep you tuned on that. I'll make sure to get you guys up to speed if that does come to fruition. But at the moment, just look at it pretty normally. Skeppy goes down the inside of Gucci Lucci. We'll get that move done into P12, and now we'll chase after Neymar with 17 minutes and 45 seconds remaining. So not too much time for him to close up, about 20 plus seconds. But if Neymar does make a mistake, it'll be alright. So maybe we get there. We'll see. We'll see. Ichigo got by Deer Hunter. That was in the pits. He's going to try and chase after his Audi teammate Botch Gerbil for P6. And then Stylo and Calzone are chasing after Stolowski. Jug is chasing after John. It's 11.9 second gap. Is not going down enough at the moment to make it a race. As we could see a bit of a race, because if you look at the sky and you obviously see the condition of the track, the headlights have turned on and we are hitting our night stint of the race. It's gonna end in the night and the track temperature is gonna go down drastically in the next few minutes here. Could create an interesting dynamic here because, well, you set up the car how you prefer it to drive, and then you try and keep it on the road. If there's a nighttime stint, you sometimes put that into your setup equation. But with these guys, most of this race was in the day. The last 15 minutes are going to be in this cooler temperature and cooler track. How much do you want to sacrifice it? We have a yellow flag off the car into the pit lane. That's Taylor. Taylor is back into the lane. That might be him done for the night. After another spin off, that was, I believe, it might have been his third of the day. And yeah, he'll be done for the night. That'll move up everybody who was behind him. GameStopper 9th, Neymar 10th, Skeppy 11th, Gucci Lucci 12th, Redeemer round out the field into 13th. So everybody gets a few more points who was behind Taylor. Alright. Game stopper into the pit lane, interestingly. Not sure what's happened to him. Don't see any noticeable damage on that Bentley. So either it's done for the night or maybe couldn't make it on fuel or something. Not exactly sure what's up with him. Track temperature has dropped by 1 degrees Celsius, down to 26. So it'll be a bit of a slip and slide for some of these drivers. As they look to maintain the temperatures in their tires, make sure everything stays how it has been. Race is gonna end just after midnight, I'm pretty sure at about like 2 a.m. In the game. So I believe it started at 4 p.m. and it ends at 2 a.m. Scale it over an hour. So this is our happening now, so that's where we're at in this race. How about Ichigo and Deer have been glued together for this entire second stint, basically, and a little bit before that, so they've been together for almost 30 minutes in this race already, so quite crazy how close they've been together this entire race. And, you know, how neither of them have really pulled away, even though they've swapped positions. See, it's really, truly getting dark now. 25 degrees Celsius now, track temperature. Keep an eye on that gap for third, because we still got a little bit of a fight between those three. Stylo and Calzone closing in on Stolowski. He's gradually losing a small amount of time to the car ahead, who is Jug, maintaining his 12-second gap to John. It's looking quite clear cut for the top two, unless mistakes are made. Track temperature again dropping down. See on the mini map, there's a car outside the entire racetrack. Who is that? Just trying to click on everyone. Cal's outside the racetrack? Where is he? Oh, he's back. Never mind, he's lagged out of the race. That's why he was off the racetrack there. So Calzone out of the race. That is an unfortunate retirement. He was looking quite good for a P6. maybe even a P5 if he was able to close up the gap to Stylo with just 10 minutes remaining, but fortunately not to be. His Wi-Fi did not want to partake any longer. Deer Hunter really close to Ichigo. Moon, and now down the back straight. So down to 12 runners. Skeppy moves up to 9th. Ichigo will take over that P6 position. Deer Hunter 7th, Neymar 8th, Skeppy 9th, Gucci 10th, Redeemer 11th, Game Stopper rounds out the field. He's looking to close up to Redeemer just ahead of him. As off goes Ichigo, missing the chicane. Stay ahead. The Audi not maybe handling the greatest in these conditions. To go until we are finished with Suzuka. But after this race, we will be heading to the Nürburgring up next. So that's next on the agenda. Nürburgring in Germany. Last time we raced there in Xbox was the season opener of last season. It was a absolutely drenched wet race, which saw Calzoner take the win, Skeppy P2, and Neymar took home 3rd. Neymar's going to be open for a wet weekend once again. I can assure you that. But we'll see the weather. Our weather is determined on the actual real life weather in the at the actual racetrack. Like in real life, the day before, the Saturday before the race, we always look at the weather, and then we decide what our race is going to have. So we'll see next weekend how the weather treats these drivers. We've seen a little bit of wet weather running this season. We've seen more than last season, that's for sure, but we'll see a lot more these final closing rounds. It's gotten really dark out here with just a few minutes remaining. Stylo is still marginally closing in on Stolowski. 2.1 seconds is that gap. They have a huge gap back to P5 of Botch Gerbil. Botch Gerbil, of course, was on the podium last weekend. Or not last weekend, 2 weeks ago in Donington. It's a bit of a surprise, but he's driven well. He has not made that many mistakes this season. He's been solidly in that mid-pack and hopefully continues to deliver some solid results and edge his way closer up to that top group of cars, because he definitely can if he puts the time in, and, you know. He's got the confidence to do so if he puts it all together. So Ichigo and Deer are still glued together. Deer's looking for this position. Ichigo has been struggling for brakes in this portion of the racetrack here. Into this chicane, you see how much Deer closes up, and Ichigo doesn't even make the corner. Deer side by side with Ichigo into the final chicane, and Deer will take away P6. So Deer's car handling much better at the moment than Ichigo's, at least under braking in these track conditions. 21 degrees Celsius track temperature. It's quite cold. And Ichigo's looking for a move up the inside into turn 1. That's bold if he can get it done, and he's going to be able to slide up in front of Deer Hunter and actually take back P6. So a bit of a battle forming between these two in the final 5 minutes of this race. Ichigo stays ahead of Deer Hunter through the S's. Deer is going to try and set up to try and get back to him into that final chicane. I think that's the best place Deer has to go, because that's where Ichigo has been struggling so much in these previous laps. But it's just whether or not Deer can get the traction and the run off the chicane to get the run into turn 1 to stay ahead, because as we saw, Ichigo was able to gather up his car and get it back in front of Deer Hunter, and he's actually pulling away a little bit through this. Skeppy's close to Neymar as well with just 3.5 minutes to go. He's got 3.6 second gap. If he could get to him and pass him, that's another position which would help his championship out just that little bit, but at the moment wouldn't be fighting for the championship win. It would probably be more about can he get third from Stolowski. Stolowski is running third at the moment in this race, running third in the championship as well. He's having a solid season. Just doesn't exactly match Jug and John at every single racetrack, but he has his moments throughout the season. It's been awesome to watch him. As Ichigo with a huge mistake, it's our 130R car into the wall, and that is huge damage to that Audi coming back onto the racetrack. Gotta have some steering damage. That was a huge blow into the wall for Ichigo. Said twice already in the chat, screw this track. Pull it into the pit lane. Gonna try and repair the car. But definitely gonna lose the spot to Neymar and Skeppy. So Deer Hunter will most likely take home P6 as Ichigo made that mistake. Now between Neymar and Skeppy, 2 minutes remain, 1.2 seconds is the gap. If Skeppy can get this position, that'll be P7 for him. These guys are going to round the final corner now and overtake Ichigo, who is currently in the pit lane. Gap is still 11.9 for the race lead. Stolowski's 24.3 back. Stylo's actually closing a little bit to 1.6 seconds back with a minute and a half of racing remaining, plus 1 lap, of course, depending on when the leader does hit the final lap. John's coming through the hairpin now. He should just barely get back to the line to start lap number 29 of the night. We'll jump back on board these guys for P7. Neymar and Skeppy, the 2 BRL drivers. Skeppy, of course, not had a great day at all. Neymar, unfortunately, has not either. Now fighting over the 7th position after staying in the race. All over the back of Neymar. Into Spoon. He's looking up the inside. He's trying to make Neymar look like a fool. Can't do so. Ichigo, stop and go. 30-second penalty to put himself into injury. As John's around the final chicane now, coming out of the final corner. And he will not get back to the line in time to finish the race. So this is the final lap. This is it for Skeppy and Neymar. Jug's gonna finish P2. Stolowski will probably round out your podium, but that's it. Neymar is going to get helped out by the fact that John did not get back to the line, and Neymar is going to hold on just barely over BRL ACC for P7. So close for those two. As I said, Jug took P2. Stolowski will just barely hold on to P3 as Stylo, a bit of a weave down the front straight, will take home another solid top 5 in 4th place, and Botch Gerbil should come home around these final few corners to take home P5 over Deer Hunter in P6. Gucci Lucci, Game Stopper, and Ichigo's going to have an extra 30 seconds added on to his race time. So I think he's going to finish P last, unfortunately, out of the runners tonight. Watch Dribble into the final chicane, a bit deep, does not matter. Fireworks off in the distance, you can see. Ferris wheel all lit up as well. Nice scene at Suzuka. So Watch Dribble will come home and finish in 5th. Deer Hunter into the final chicane 6th. And then Game Stopper. And it should be Redeemer ahead of Ichigo after the penalty is applied, because Ichigo cannot serve that stop-go. And give us a nice little slide into the wall. And Redeemer, yes, it has applied a 250-second penalty to Ichigo, and he'll finish, 60-second penalty to Ichigo. Saw the gap in 15 and 16, but here's your final results of the night. John takes home a comfortable win after leading, I think, every lap tonight. Jug will finish 2nd. Stolowski rounds out your podium. Stylo in 4th. Gerbil 5th. Deer Hunter 6th. Neymar just edges out Skeppy for 7th. Skeppy finishes 8th. Gucci in 9th. Game Stopper rounds out your top 10, and then Redeemer will take home 11th. Ichigo 12th out of your finishers, and then it's Calzona who lagged out. Taylor rage quit, and then I think it was Alphanesis. He's the guy in 16th, and can't remember the Lamborghini, unfortunately. But that's it for the racing. We'll try and get some post-race interviews to your top 3 here. Alright, nice and quick, everybody getting in the party. Make sure you guys include your audio into the stream before we get going. And Stolowski will start with you. I think out of the 3 podium finishers, you had one of the more stressful races overall.
Yeah.
A lot of pressure from behind from Stylo, and it was Calzona as well. Talk us through your entire race, really. I mean, you had a lot to deal with tonight.
Yeah, the car was enough in itself. This was just not a good track for Lambo. I feel like we had no rear end grip. We couldn't find any rear grip at all the whole weekend. So it was always a struggle, and personally, it's not one of my best tracks either. So I think a podium's probably a pretty good result for today. Considering the pace we had. Got pretty close with Stylo a few times, especially towards the end. As soon as it got dark, my tire pressures were just dropping like a ton every lap, so it was just getting more and more difficult, and he was closing in. Made a couple mistakes, but I was able to keep him behind, which is nice. But overall, I'm happy with the podium after that, so.
Not too bad, just in everything. And obviously the card wasn't great suited tonight. Deer struggled as well, and Yeah, it wasn't too bad. You're gonna maintain third in the drivers' standings.
Hmm.
Unfortunately, dropping more points to the top two. But is that what your goal is for the season? Do you have anything extra? Do you want another win? Or are you
I'm
just
not
looking to hold
really.
third?
I think it would take some bad luck for Jug and John for me to get back in this.
Mm. Do you want another win? I mean,
Oh
that's
yeah,
quite a.
I'm definitely. Uh, I'd say 3 out of the 4 tracks coming up are pretty strong for me. So I'm hoping for. I'm really hoping for 3 wins, honestly, closing out the season.
Love
But
to hear it.
if John and Jug are still on the podium with those, then it's not gonna do much. So.
Hoping for 3 wins to close out the season. So we'll see if it comes to fruition for him. But congratulations on the third tonight and extending your gap on the guys behind you in the points as well. So not a bad day overall. Jug, are you here? Yes, you are. All right. A P2. Once again, I kind of had to back to Donington second race, where you and a certain Mercedes seem to collide. And well, what happened on lap one? And obviously, how did you manage the race from then? Yeah, every weekend you two seem to be close. And I'm going to ask you this, and it's going to segue into John's interview as well. Gap now in the championship, I believe, is 5 points, and you barely hold on to it. 4 tracks remain. Nürburgring is next. Are you confident there with your Lexus?
Except for what? Bathurst? Bathurst?
Oh, Bathurst.
Bathurst.
Yeah, that one.
Come on, man.
Bathurst to finish out the season. So, you want to keep the championship lead heading into that, I would assume. You don't want to be fighting for behind. That's from your P2 finisher by Juggernog. He holds on to a 5-point gap over the guy who won today. John, I mean, I don't have much to talk about race-wise because you kind of led every single lap you did today. I guess the car felt nice.
Yeah, the car was like it was planted. Yeah, there'd be like a couple slides, but the car was planted at the track, and obviously, yes, it sucks that Jack and Scabby got caught in that thing. 'Cause I look behind and I see just 2 cars like basically causing like a pile up behind. I'm like, Welp, and then obviously Jug and Skeppy had pretty good damage, and I'm like, all right, well, and there was no safety car either, so it's like, I could just cruise now. And during really the end of the first stint, and mostly the whole of the second stint, I couldn't tell you like that's probably the most consistent I've ever been, lap after lap after lap. And obviously, I didn't know until just now. Jug had 3 warnings. I only had one, and that was at the very beginning of the race. So I could push a little more. Yeah, it kind of makes sense now. The reason why he wasn't catching me so quick. He was like he gained on me a little bit, and I pulled away a little bit. So we both had very similar pace, and yeah, it's looking really good for a championship fight.
Yeah, you maintained it was like about a 12-second gap once he got himself into P2, and then it kind of stayed there the entire way through. And I mean, that's impressive to be able to do that, because you don't have any reference with you. You were kind of alone most of the race, except for like about halfway through when those guys came out of the pits right behind you.
Something funny here, yeah, because I was gonna pit like 1 lap earlier, and then Redeemer pits in front of me, so I was like, I'm gonna have to stay out again. And then Botch gets a run, and all of a sudden, Botch has probably life has flashed before his eyes, and then it's just like he's like 3 wide, about to get squeezed, and it worked out for me because I was on the outside, so obviously worked out for me.
Well, I mean, at least you had something interesting happen tonight, because otherwise I think you might have fallen asleep in that night stint. But congratulations, it's 5 points between you two. Nürburgring next. Do you like it? Does the car like it more is the question.
I absolutely love Nürburgring. Yeah, the car likes it. I mean, there's some corners where Mercedes really struggles there, but no, it's a very good track for Mercedes. I would imagine the Lexus is probably gonna be good there as well, especially with the straight line speed and all that stuff, and especially being a 2-hour race as well for Nürburgring. Obviously, a lot can happen. So I'll just have to do the best I can to not make any mistakes, and basically did what I did just tonight, and do it next week as well.
Yeah, it's gonna be about a consistency to finish out the season between these two, and I'm all here for it, because next week we got Nürburgring. We got a 2-hour long race. We should have the safety car back in action, maybe. I believe so. Should be 2 hours. So mentally draining on the drivers as Jug is realizing how much pain he's gonna have to go through. But make sure you guys tune in to that next weekend, same time at 7 p.m. East. And then obviously we've got our Formula One tiers on here as well. It starts F2 is Wednesday, Realistic Thursday, tiers 3 and 4 Friday, and tier 2 and 1 Saturday. So make sure you guys stay tuned to the channel. Follow if you're new. Make sure you get everything all in line and get ready for next week. And we got more action coming. I hope to see you guys next week. That's it from me.